There's a question that floats through private thoughts, whispered conversations, and late-night internet searches. It's not something most people bring up in polite conversation, yet it's a concern that thousands of men quietly carry. The question is simple, but the emotions around it, anxiety, guilt, confusion, are anything but. What really happens to your body, and specifically your prostate, if you masturbate every single day? Depending on where you look, the answers can range from mildly concerning to outright alarming. Some say it's dangerous, that it causes damage or chronic inflammation, that it might increase your risk of prostate cancer. Others even claim it wears out the gland. And if you've come across these ideas, you're not alone. They've been repeated online, passed around in locker rooms, and handed down like folklore, always with a hint of fear and shame. But here's the thing. Most of those claims are either outdated, completely untrue, or based on fear instead of facts. Today, we're diving deep into the science, because the truth is not only surprising, it's empowering. And what you're about to hear could genuinely change the way you think about your body and your long-term health. Let's start by getting familiar with the key player in this discussion, the prostate gland. This small organ, often overlooked in day-to-day health conversations, is essential to male reproductive function. It's about the size of a walnut and is located just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. Its main job is to produce seminal fluid, the part of semen that nourishes and protects sperm. In short, no prostate, no reproduction. But beyond its reproductive function, the prostate plays an important role in overall male health, particularly as men get older. And because it's such a crucial gland, it's also one of the biggest sources of health-related anxiety for men. One of the leading causes of that anxiety? Prostate cancer. It's one of the most common cancers in men worldwide, so it makes sense that men are cautious about anything that might influence their prostate health, including something as personal and frequent as masturbation. But here's where things get interesting. For years, the conversation around masturbation was dominated by myths, religious taboos, outdated medical beliefs, and social discomfort all contributed to a long-standing narrative that masturbation was unhealthy, selfish, or even dangerous. And when it came to the prostate, the idea that frequent ejaculation could somehow damage the gland gained traction despite having no solid scientific foundation. Then, something incredible happened. Scientists at one of the world's most respected academic institutions decided to ask the question seriously. No more guessing, no more speculation. Real data, real men, real answers. Enter the Harvard University research team, specifically from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. These researchers conducted one of the largest and most thorough studies ever done on the topic. They followed nearly 32,000 men for almost 2 decades. Think about that. 18 years of tracking lifestyles, health outcomes, and yes, ejaculation frequency. The goal was clear. Understand how often ejaculation happens and what impact it has on long-term prostate health. When the results were finally published, they turned decades of assumption on their head. The study found that men who ejaculated more frequent, specifically 21 or more times per month, had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. In fact, their risk was up to 33% lower compared to men who ejaculated just 4 to 7 times per month. That's not a small difference. That's a major finding with powerful implications. Instead of being something harmful or dangerous, frequent ejaculation, whether through sex or masturbation, appeared to offer a protective effect for one of the most vulnerable organs in the male body. And this wasn't some one-off study buried in an obscure journal. It was a landmark piece of research from Harvard, and it was backed up by additional studies from around the world. For example, researchers in Australia found similar links between regular ejaculation and reduced cancer risk. In other words, the scientific community started to come to a new consensus. Far from damaging the prostate, regular ejaculation might actually help keep it healthy. But why? What's the mechanism? How could something so ordinary, so natural, have such a profound impact on the body? Well, researchers have a few strong theories. The most popular is known as the prostate stagnation hypothesis. Let's break that down. The prostate is full of tiny duct-small tubes that carry the fluid it produces. Over time, without regular ejaculation, those fluids and the cells within them can build up and stagnate. That stagnation may lead to inflammation, irritation, and the accumulation of potentially harmful substances or even carcinogens. In simple terms, when the system isn't flushed out regularly, it might become a breeding ground for problems. Frequent ejaculation helps clear the system, keeping it clean and reducing the chance for these dangerous buildups to occur.